Do you know where the food you don't eat goes?
Some of you just came from lunch. Did you finish your plate? Whether you eat healthy or not, whatever doesn't go into your mouth goes into the ground.
Today we're going to talk to you about food waste.
Start out, we're going to be talking about all the issues surrounding it.
Americans are so obsessed with food. In fact, it's our central focus of our everyday lives and almost every social event. We have reached a peak in the last decade.
Another issue that we rarely talk about is global warming, because what happens is the food that doesn't get eaten goes to the landfill and creates methane, which is a greenhouse gas, and that heats up our environment, creating global warming.
We often think that it's a third world country problem that people don't have enough to eat. But in fact, while we're sitting here wasting all this food, 1 in 8 Americans struggle to put food on the table at the end of the day.
The facts are surprising. Did you know that 1 in 5 children and youth suffer from food insecurity or hunger, and 1 in 3 children and youth are overweight? There are 2 main contributors to this problem. The first one is fast food restaurants, and the second one is grocery stores.
Fast food companies offer a lot of food for low prices, and this causes Americans to buy more than they need, and they end up wasting the extras.
We as Americans eat fast food heavily, and we encourage companies to continue producing. But at the end of the night, fast food companies actually dispose of a lot of extra food that doesn't get eaten or sold.
Another example of this is Wendy's 4 for $4. As you can see, you get a lot of food with this deal, and oftentimes people are not able to eat it all. This is called the push effect, and it's something that fast food companies do, which increases food availability and marketing, and causes Americans to want to buy more food when really they don't need it.
Hey. Gotta go.
As a former Target employee myself, I know that many people abandon their baskets every day, and the produce they leave has to be thrown out. Refrigerated food has to stay at a certain temperature, and when they're left out in abandoned carts, they can become spoiled, and that's why they have to be thrown away. Studies have found that in the United States there has been $165 billion worth of food loss, and the 3 main categories are dairy, vegetables, and meat, which includes poultry and fish.
We wanted to talk to someone who could inform us more about the campus we call home. Glenn Babcock, the executive chef here at Regis, sat with us for an interview on food wastage in our main cafe.
I'm the executive chef with Regis University at Bon Appetit Management Company. We're talking a little bit about food waste and ways to reduce the carbon impact of what some of that food waste looks like. And Bon Appetit actually is one of the early innovators in the food service industry in terms of recognizing that we as food service providers have an impact on what food waste does and what impact that has on major climate change.
Glenn's first recommendation is to be mindful of what you buy at the grocery store and think about buying less.
How often do we go to the grocery store, buy a bag of carrots, and we only use like 1 or 2 carrots in our bag of carrots, or we really like the look of that mango and we never really got around to using it. We bought the cauliflower and it just sat there in our refrigerator all week long, and now it's kind of looking brown and dingy and we don't want to eat that.
When you shop at a grocery store, it seems like all the produce there is ready to be bought. But in nature, a lot of produce actually is not store ready, and that gets thrown away in part of our food waste. That produce takes time, energy, and water to grow still, so we're still using our natural resources and not being able to use the product.
Another thing Glenn informed us on is this new project that they're doing here at Regis with Bon Appetit. They are taking vegetables that can't be sold in the store and using them in dishes here at Regis. That way, less vegetables and produce goes to waste.
All of the apples that are maybe a little too small or a little too big, all of these things are certainly produced. They certainly consume, energy, water, time and energy from people who actually had to harvest those items. All of that went into waste. Now it's now being composted because it wasn't that perfect size. So Bon Appetit has actually taken a stance in terms of creating an imperfectly delicious program where these are items that are certainly edible. They're perfectly delicious. There's nothing wrong with that apple, even though it's not the same size or the right color or whatever you're looking for. And we can certainly turn those apples into something. There would also be a good example would be carrots. That sometimes, if you're a home gardener, you can think of carrots that have like 2 little legs.
Something stores have started doing, specifically Starbucks in California, is donating all unsold food at the end of the night to people in the community who don't know where their next meal is coming from.
Target is another proud sponsor that donates. As you can see here, there is a large statistic of food that goes to waste at Target that they donate to families in need or people in the community that they can help.
The solution is not to diet, but just to watch what you're throwing away. I have time to put it away.
Here you can see Regis students doing their part in composting the extra food that they did not eat. The reason it is so important we make sure we put our food and compost into the right bins is because here at Bon Appetit and at Regis, we recycle and compost way more than we put into the landfill. The statistics are there are 12 cubic yards of compost every week, 40 yards of recycling every week, and only 9 yards of landfill every week, and that is very good compared to other universities and restaurants. Along with composting and recycling extra food waste, Regis also donates about 24 cubic yards to the Denver Food Recovery every single week, and this goes to feeding families who cannot get enough food themselves. At this point in our speech, you might be asking yourself, well, what can I do to help with this?
You can help with food wastage in the environment and everywhere that you are eating, specifically in the Regis Cafe. You don't need statistics to know that there's so much food that gets thrown away from plates. So just take what you want to try. Then you can always get more.